A woman is a voice for the voiceless. She tells the stories that matter and fights for what's right.
A woman is the planner, the organizer, and the one who makes things happen behind the scenes.
A woman is on the front line, asking tough questions and sharing important information.
A woman is a storyteller, connecting with audiences, sparking joy, and sharing in human experiences.
A woman is a problem solver. She offers support, she builds relationships, and she makes a difference in people's lives.
A woman is the future, with dreams and aspirations, ready to make her mark on the world.
A woman is an artist, transforming and expressing herself through the power of creativity.
A woman is a witness, capturing history, amplifying voices, and changing the narrative.
A woman is a connector, building relationships, fulfilling dreams, and driving progress.
Welcome back to the AM Club here on MX24. We're still celebrating women today, and we're excited that you joined us. It's the AM Club right here on MX24. We'll make sure to keep you inspired, entertained, and absolutely informed. Well, we are excited because the day has come to announce the 8th Women's Expo Ghana 2024 International Women's Day edition at the Atlantic Mall Atomic Junction, Accra, from March 8th, that's today, to the 10th of March 2024. Participate to showcase your products, services, use the platform to promote your products and services as well. Reach your target market in the shortest possible time. Join us to celebrate International Women's Day on the 8th of March. That is today. A free health screening, medication review, family planning, and female reproductive health. Participate in discussion circles on self-care and women's choice in health, pension planning for the woman entrepreneur, insurance for small businesses, digital and social media marketing, customer service, and more. Admission is absolutely free. And guess what? So today you can take the kids along because there's a kids playing area for you. For registration and participation, contact 055 7874 977 055 7874 977. Make sure to be a part of it because today we're celebrating women only. Kumbe.
What's good?
You stay in the show with me. Now it's time for Lifestyle Daily, and today we are celebrating International Women's Day. Joining us for the conversation today, guess who's joining us?
I know her
I have
name.
watched her on social media.
Oh.
I've seen the great work she's doing, and it's good to have her in the studio.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Oh, you look beautiful. you look. In fact, this thing I've been told is very disrespectful.
What?
You look better in person than your
Than
photos.
in-
Yeah.
You can tell me that. The way I will block you in real life.
I feel it's a compliment, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a compliment. So if my photos are not nice, it's supposed to be a compliment. You know?
No, it means that people perceive you to be truly beautiful, even from your pictures and videos. But then when they see you, they
goes to
think it's
top.
better.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is why she's speaking with this intelligence, Precious Bonsu, the founder, the Wit School, right?
Yeah.
Did I get your name right?
Yeah, Precious Bonsu.
Precious Bonsu,
Yeah.
okay. The founder, the Wit School. But first of all, why did you choose the name though? The
Okay,
Wit
so WIT stands for Wisdom Intelligence Training. Yeah. But then even the WIT as a word means intelligence.
Yes.
It means critical thinking.
Yes.
So somebody that's really smart. And I chose that because I found that our education system just pushes us to know things. So the knowledge bit is there. But then how to apply that knowledge into our
Real
lives.
life.
So you need that wisdom and that intelligence to push your knowledge through to the point where you can become somebody in future. And also for training, I believe that character is very important. You can be the smartest person in the room, but if your attitudes stink, if you're not someone with values and principles, you can't get to work with people, and that's a struggle. So just to create a school, a community that children and even the teachers have the right knowledge and the right character to mesh together to become great in the future. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Do you use the same curriculum that every other school uses? Or?
No, we don't
Yes,
actually.
I figured.
It sounds like you're using a different curriculum. So,
Exactly.
so which one do you use?
So we were greatly inspired by the curriculum from Finland, which proposes a lot of critical thinking, a lot of problem-solving skills, a lot of collaboration and communication, and also innovation. And so you would see that when we're teaching, for example, fractions, we're not just letting the children do 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1. And till date, I don't know why they taught us fractions like that.
Like that.
Right? So in our curriculum, for example, a teacher will show up in the classroom with an orange that he will slice into 2 parts and then ask you, so if you bring these 2 parts together, what do you get? You get 1 whole orange. And so the children are able to understand the concepts deeper and apply it to everyday lives. So our curriculum is quite intensive, but then it pushes children to think. So we like to call it the thinking curriculum, where everything needs to make sense in the grand scheme of things, and nothing is isolated. Yeah.
That sounds to me.
Then that's from you. You are the brain behind that.
Yeah.
See, that's why you're here.
Yeah. You're definitely
International Women's Day.
celebrating.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Today's conversation is very important because we are inspiring inclusivity. Yes, I'm trying to. The word is a mouthful.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be able to pronounce it. We are inspiring inclusivity, and it's such an important conversation. Considering even what you just brought up in terms of how you decided to change the whole module of the school system from your small corner.
Right.
Other people can see it, will look at this and be like, actually, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I should adapt to that of Dubai. The other someone will adapt that of Asia or something. And before you know, our society has actually brought out. In fact, these educational systems have actually brought out actual thinkers and doers in the society. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
So we'll still stay on the question she asked you because that's actually a very brilliant one. I wasn't actually going that way. Sheikh, you are the woman again. Hey, now, what really inspires you in choosing Finland? What was it about?
So my personal motto for life is either the best or with the best. So typically, if I'm to make a choice, I'm asking myself, out of the 10 options I have, which are the top 3, and how can I become like them, or at least beat them, right? So I Googled, this is back in 2018, I Googled what the best education system in the world is, and Finland popped up. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, this is a country nobody wants to go to. It's so cold, and it's so far on the other side of the world. But I started investigating to find out why they were so great. And I found that, so about 30 years ago, they were an agricultural society just like ours. But then they decided to invest in their human capital because they knew that no matter how much resources you had, if you didn't have the right human beings to drive those resources, you will still be poor. And that's why in most African states, you have us having gold, we have timber, but we seem not to know what to do
with it.
Right. So, but then if you build up your human capital, then they'll be able to channel their energy, their resources, their intelligence into making those resources work for the society that they live in. So when Finland came up, I also decided, I'm not one to just copy and paste things and just think that because it's working somewhere else, it would work here. Yes. I love to adopt, I like to see something that is already existing and see how I can contextualize it. Because I don't believe that a child in Ghana should not know how to speak their local languages, for example. So in my school, we teach Akan. And so you'd find even the whitest kid speaking some Twi or some Ga, because if you live in Ghana, you need to be able to be contextually fit. In that, if a child is being kidnapped by people who don't speak English, for example, and they are saying Faneko, I need that child to know what Faneko means, to learn how to run away. But, you know, we're so quick to adopt things from foreign places and just make them our thing, and nobody is trying to make it contextually fit. And so it's very much Ghanaian as it is global. We are trying to have globally competitive children, but people who are also thriving locally.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So personally, I think you're a very interesting person. And I just want
What
to know.
interesting means?
No, because I like the way you're thinking. Basically, I like the way you're thinking, and I just want to know. I want to know who inspired you to get to this point, because obviously you seem to have your roots well grounded.
Right.
Yeah. So I want your answer to be a woman.
Yeah, it's my grandmother. So yeah, her name is Akosua Ajomo. May she rest in peace. So she was a woman of all trades. Honestly, my grandma was a carpenter at a point. She was building houses.
Oh, wow.
She had a chop bar at some point. She had shops. And she only went up until grade 3 in her time. But she remembered everybody's phone number, just the top of her head. She was super intelligent. And she just inspired the thoughts that I didn't have to be another gender to be great, seriously. And, you know, sometimes we fight with the men erroneously, as if they're taking something. No, we are just not putting ourselves forward to take those things. Nobody will stop you if you wanted to get into real estate. Nobody will stop you if you wanted to be behind the cameras as the men in this room are. But we assume that we're not supposed to be there. We assume that our lives are woven around a certain vocation, a certain occupation. And so my grandmother made me see the impact that I can bring, regardless of the gender that I carried. And as a woman, that was so inspiring. One of the reasons why it was very inspiring for me was because even the limited educational background she had didn't stop her.
Yes.
And one of the things that as women we need to tell ourselves every day is that we deserve a seat at the table. But it should be a thought that comes from merit. You know, you deserve a seat at the table because you can do it. You're here doing this because you can do it, not because they needed a woman to be in the seat. And so she was very inspiring for me. She pushed me really, really hard and there was one thing she did so beautifully. She gave me freedom, but with a lot of responsibility. So you can do what you want to do. You can choose the course you want to, but it has to have an end goal. You don't do things just because. So when I was even starting the school, how sustainable is this thing? How can I drive it to the point where even after my demise, it will still carry on? And so I needed to build the right team, for example. I needed to create a vision that will still be relevant today as it is 20 years down the line, as it is 100 years down the line. And that's how I've lived.
Mimi is so engrossed, and I love conversations like this because then again, it continues to inspire some of us because I was telling her earlier that I wasn't a feminist, and she was like,
is it a real actual feminist or the social media feminist?
Yeah. And I was like, we'll get there. We'll get there. But then you said something that was really profound. We deserve a seat at the table based on merit, not because, we have to be like men. And again, I'm with the notion that we have untapped capacities and capabilities that we don't know. And we're busy wanting to be men. And so that really blows my mind. And I know how you're rolling your eyes.
I'm thinking because I don't think that is what feminism is about.
Oh, but that's how it has been projected to be.
No.
Exactly. So
no, that's why I asked you, are you the
social media.
That one I understand totally because I am not not that one. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes. What they have made it
to look like.
It makes it's like people we don't like men. It's like we hate men. We want to take over the men.
Every week.
We want the men to vanish from the face of the earth.
Yes.
That's not it.
Yes.
But so I had to research. That's what I was asking. I had to research, and then I was trying to find the link between International Women's Day and feminism. You understand? So International Women's Day and feminism, they have they intersect.
I'll let you do that when we introduce our beautiful lady who has just joined us, Sichope Chiko.
Yes.
Hey, I got it right.
No.
Yes, you did. You did almost.
No, almost.
I'll give you 95.
Sichope.
Yes.
Sichope Chiko.
Yes. Fantastic.
Yeah. Sister, my name is Bebe. Now she's an actor and a producer.
Yes, please.
We're celebrating International Women's Day, so I'm celebrating you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I'm celebrating all of you here as well.
So we're still on the feminist conversation. Kumi, go with it.
Okay. So now that I've taken my phone, let's go.
Let's go.
All right. It is connected to feminism. It's through roots in women's rights movements, advocacy for equality, celebrating feminist achievements, because again, we are celebrating women. So it really is about us. And I think that's where they all intersect. That's why I was asking if you're a feminist. Do you understand?
I'm not the social media feminist.
That's all
and again, I
that's
feel
all.
like really and truly, I get emotional when I'm talking about the Ghanaian girl and all of that. But I think I'm pro men. Yeah, and it's very interesting if I'm in a room, right? So and I didn't know this before, but if I found myself in a room and
naturally gravitate
towards the man, I will be more sympathetic towards the man. And I feel like women, when you get inside of you right there, you would see the strength that will beat this man.
Yeah.
But why do I have to look for strength? It is what it is. Like, let's just be.
No.
Like, why? Okay, I even want to understand why you have more sympathy towards the men. Like, what is it?
I didn't know what it was. I think that naturally, okay, so again, when I found myself doing that a lot, when I got into a room, I gravitated more towards the men. Initially, it sounded like, are you not being too flirtatious? Then I also realized that when it came to conversations pertaining to men, the things that the experiences, I spend more time looking into the experiences men what they go through every day, their experiences, their pain. I research more on understanding what a man feels like or becomes at a certain point in time. And then, fortunately for me, I had my first child is a boy.
Oh,
so,
maybe.
No, but I started feeling like that before I had him.
Okay.
And then again, I was like, okay, now that I'm trying to understand my son, I'm even becoming more
invested in that subject.
In making sure that, because I feel like a lot of men are broken and they're hurting a lot of women because they are too broken to even fix themselves. But that's not why we're here today. Today we're celebrating the woman. And so I'm not the feminist on social media.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all.
But Sichope, yes, it's like we've kept you mute. So I just want to know how you think we can better support women. Do you think that we have all the support now there is to have?
No, I don't think anyone has all the support there is to have. But I believe, like they say, charity begins at home. Once you find yourself in a certain space, let's say whatever it is you're doing in your field, the first point of call in terms of where you need support the most is from your closest environment, right? So you're looking at your family, your friends, your colleagues in whatever field it is you're working in. Once you get the support from there, it's easier then to at least get to a certain level where now you can get support from even outsiders.
Right.
So I feel like if you are part of any group or anything, you should put yourself in a space where it is easier to support you as well as a woman. Because I think that's something we don't speak enough about. Support just doesn't come on its own. And I can use my film as an example. Once I started to talk about the film, started to prepare to, that's pre-production stage, then I start to talk to a few people in my close circle, because of course raising funds and getting support to shoot a film is not an easy thing to do. If you've tried it, you know that it's excruciating on all fronts. But once people see, or people in your close circle see how passionate you are about something, it's easier to support you. But if you are not doing anything as a woman, you are not making any effort, you know, there's nothing to support. So I think the first point of call is you yourself tap into your being. Charity again begins, tap into your being. What is it that you want to do? How are you going about trying to put yourself in a space where people can see that she's actually serious about this thing? Now let's all push her. Typical example, once I had started that process of wanting to do this and I started to ask a few people what I needed, all the help that I needed started to come gradually. And I think I wrote on social media yesterday that once I took the first step, I just needed to trust God, and then the rest just kept coming. To the point where I had friends who kept sending money. Oh, we are trying to, I want to support you with this. But once you are not doing anything as a woman, and for me, that's the emphasis. Start to do something. Tap into yourself. What is it that you want to do? Then take it from there. Support yourself. Invest in yourself. Grow yourself. Let people see that you're actually ready to do the work, to put in the work. Don't just expect that people should support nothing. Because humans want to be part of a moving train. But if the train is stagnant, nobody wants to be standing still anywhere. But once they see that, with or without me, this person is moving, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that success story. Then everybody would come with it. A lot of women just want to, we call it soft life. We want a soft life our way. Yes. A lot of women are entitled. I'm a woman. It should come to me. No. And I think that's what men aren't exactly happy about. We want to just sit on the fence and be cold. Yes, be cool and be soft and sweet and just get everything thrown at you, you know. But once you're ready to put in the work, even the men come in to support. And the conversation you two are having, I'm also not a feminist at all. I believe we women have a special place in the world. We have our unique capabilities, which is far different from the men, and they also have theirs. And once we are able to work as co-habits of this world, everything is okay. But once you want to take their space, or step into someone else's role, then there is this agitation. Give me this. I have this right. I don't think it's all necessary. We have our special place, and I think if we are able to enjoy that space and enjoy our lane as women, everything should be fine.
I think that there has been this constant conversation in recent times about embracing your femininity. And that also brings us back to the role a woman plays in a society and the role a man plays in a society. And again, you did mention that if we know our places, we know that a woman is supposed to be soft yet hard inside. And it's actually fact. Listen, I know it's hard to be soft and hard, but when we're talking about being soft in your person, being soft in your speech,
have grace.
Exactly. And have grace and poise, and then be strong at work. So the things is shared in different areas. Do you think that we women have become more masculine than feminine in recent times?
I think so. I think so. I think we are forcing too much to be seen when we are already the center of attention. We are. It's like we've forgotten who we are, you know, and we are trying to now rush and take somebody, and that happens when you don't know who you are. But once you accept and know and agree with who you are and are happy with it, the men are trying to be us. When you look at
changing
it, they are all changing. When you look at the rate of gender transitions, more males are trying to transition into women. There is something they see that even we don't see, and that's just the fact. You know, so there is beauty and joy in being a woman, to the point where more of them are trying to even be like us, and we don't see it, and we are now wanting to be men. So
even
bad.
in comic skits now,
if
you don't dress like a woman,
nobody watches.
Then it's not funny.
You know,
that's weird.
It's
really
becoming
weird.
upset. I'm also like, what's going on?
What's going on?
Are we?
Did you guys see something? Tell us.
Are we that special? For all of you to want to tap into it to even sell yourselves. There's something there. And if we, I remember I was watching, there's this Nigerian one particular who has actually changed his whole, from wardrobe to life to body parts to the way.
Bobrisky.
Yes. I didn't want to.
Bobrisky.
That's our big sister.
And when the whole thing started, I was like, my God, this woman moves with such grace and poise more than even me, a woman, you know? And that's just it. I think we should just allow ourselves to be in our natural habitat and space, and everything should be fine.
Again, when we go back into the Bible, God didn't create us to become competitors. We're supposed to be a support.
Exactly. Which is why
And He
I
put
don't
that
like
ability in us. Now let's talk about today's big conversation, International Women's Day. What does it mean to you?
I think inspiring inclusion. So, for example, how I am driving that in my school. In my school, obviously, there are boys and there are girls.
Yes.
But unlike most schools, or I'm sure all schools, where there's a boys prefect and then there's a girls prefect. But in the world, you have a female CEO or a male CEO. You have a female president or a male president. Nobody would say you are in charge of all the women and that one is in charge of all the men. So in my school, for example, when we're doing elections, we are electing a president for the school. Currently, Ikuya is a female president for the school, and the boys acknowledge her because there were times that boys...
Notice that the name is Ikuya. Moving on.
There were times that the boy was the president for the school. I needed to do that because I don't want the girls growing up thinking, if there's a role and it's only female, that's when I put myself forward. Do you understand me? Like even in SLC, and that's why in KNUST they had the first female SLC president, because it's so hard for women to even pick up the form to want to be SLC president. We're fine with the secretary, we are fine with the, and then we complain that they are not giving us the chance. And sometimes it's because of how we're conditioned. So if you've been in school and you've been the girls prefect in an all-girl group, you don't see how you can become the president. Do you understand? Because then it's like, how then do I add the men to my list of line of things I have to do? So I think that locally, and I love what she said about charity beginning at home, parents and teachers and caregivers, we need to break this thing about, we shouldn't be gender biased in parenting and education of children, right? So if your girl child loves playing with cameras and cars, don't be so quick to push dolls to them. Don't be too quick to push frying pans. And, because I saw that when I was growing up, where, you know, they would say, oh, don't play with the cars, it's for the boys, right? But my parents, for example, and my grandma, I don't know whether my dad thought I was going to be a boy. I was allowed to ride bicycles, play piano. Look, at a point, I didn't know. So when I go to school and the girls are trying to do the hair of the dolls in my head, you don't know what you're missing with video games, right? Because I am playing Sega and I'm playing PlayStation and my friends are playing with dolls. And it's also because once you're raised gender biased, right? You don't know how to fit in an inclusive space where there are men and then there are women. So I think that we should start at home. As parents, as teachers, let's try to not discourage girls from doing certain things that we have stereotyped as a boy thing, right? You know, I love that I go to church and now I see the women pushing the camera things and, you know, they're behind the console. Before we were always ushers and I'm thinking, why? You know, men will hardly want to be ushers. And for them, you can't blame somebody who puts themselves forward. They didn't say don't come. You decided not to come. And so I think we have to also come together and push each other. There's a way that if you wanted to do something and I said, of course you can become the president of MX24, it just instantaneously shifts your brain space. But if I say, hey, for a girl, I think secretary.
Assistant secretary will help. Not even being a secretary,
Not
the secretary's assistant to
secretary,
her.
and that's why I mean yesterday's news. I was so happy when I heard that President John Mahama chose Professor Jane as the vice, because. Again, if you're a girl and you're watching, you're thinking, aha, so finally we're not going to be just the chief of staff and one of them ones, you know, we're a step closer to presidency. And so we need to start having billboards around, like we need to start creating examples of what women can become all around us, at home, in our churches, in our mosques, in our societies, so that once our children start seeing that, oh wow, yeah, children, you know, women are in tech now, women are everywhere, then we're pushing ourselves more. Otherwise, it would just be an annual talk. We'll talk about it, and then it ends there. So for you that you have a son, for example, if he comes home and he's telling you about a girl in the class that is so smart, some parents make some remarks like, how are you allowing the girl to beat you? In my head, you know what I mean? And these things happen. And so we create misogynists even at a very early age. You know, sometimes I have to use my husband's phone to request for Uber because the way they treat him is very different from the way they would treat me. As soon as you're a woman, they assume you'll be late to enter the car. So already he's like,
everything you're saying, right? I just want us to look at the fact that this is all pointing to us fighting for equality.
Right.
Which is what feminism is about. I just want us to talk about, like, just to note that this is us, because again, this is like the Uber example is so typical.
But the point is, you don't need to fight for it. The space is there. Let me use a very good example.
Do you mean, I'm coming, do you mean fight for it like now, like as in 2024, the space has been now, the space has been provided now. So maybe the force with which we would have used to fight for it then, because at that time we were not even giving the chance to do all of these things. We are talking about women leading and stuff like that. Because of how far we've come now, we've been exposed to different things. And so now, yes, the world is changing.
And even that is still there's still this subtle.
Exactly. So I just
they're not as assertive as before.
Right. Yes.
But even now, I mean, as a woman leader, when I'm interviewing, it's very funny. Because when I'm interviewing and we send the call that people should apply, for example, you would have a lot of men show up for setting positions because they think they are deserving of it. One chick will come through if you're lucky. And even that, when she sees the men, you can see clearly that.
Intimidation.
But then, if I see that, I would drop in that, oh, so when I founded the school. So immediately she hears that I'm not the secretary sent to come and do the interview, that I'm actually the decision maker. All of a sudden, she feels that maybe I have a chance better than the men. Because if she has been able to do this, then I mean,
give me the chance to
you know what I mean? And so that's why I was saying that we need to have a lot more poster girls around that women can look at. And even when we hire men, sometimes I see the struggle. I see the struggle with, you know,
allowing a woman to lead.
Yeah, before you'd see that, okay, they assumed you were probably the
wife of the owner.
Honestly, this is real, right? And then they come in, and look, I feel that the strongest men there are those that are happy, willing, and just, in fact, they are in awe of a woman leading. And when I see men like that, I want to give them the world, because...
You want to do what?
Give them the world.
So we will go away.
We already have the world, right? But it's because it takes strength to recognize that nobody's a threat to me. And calling her my madam does not demystify my manhood, right? And so when I see the others, they struggle. I can see the struggle that waking up in the morning and coming to a madam is tough.
Yeah.
It's tough for you, right? And even women do the same. Some women hate to work under female leadership because in their head, the husband should be the one she's... I remember there's a cleaning agency that told me, the women don't stay because when they are coming, they think that the boss
is a man.
Yeah. So if you're not, then... So there's this division to conquer. That's very subtle. That's very... So we are our own enemies, number one. And also because we don't give each other the chance, the space. So I'd rather... There are so many people who'd rather hire men to work with than women because they don't want competition. Maybe you dress too nicely.
Oh, I had that.
Oh, yeah.
When you're done with that, I'll tell you my story.
Oh, yeah, you dress too nicely. Yeah, you're too beautiful. I can't hire you. And these are all things that we're doing. So as for the men, they are the least of our problems. And sometimes they kind of sniff on what we're doing. So it's like a dog sniffing on, oh, you're scared of me, so I'll bark to see how you react. So sometimes they look at how we're treating each other and they're like, oh, let's kick them.
Pray on these ones.
Let's do that. So that's what I have found, and how I combat that is to, again, like she said, don't fight for anything. Let your stuff speak for you.
Thank you.
You know, I've been in rooms where, you know, you're the only woman, you're just sitting there, you're just quiet, and they call you to come to the plenary, you start to speak.
Everything you're saying has a story. Bring some of us. I have two now, so you guys should make sure I don't have three.
And then all of a sudden you walk down the stage and the men are like, oh my, you're so incredible. And you need to, and sometimes you don't have to fight for anything. You just have to let your stuff speak for you. And that's why, as a woman, it's so important to build on yourself. Like, while your friends are being feminist and shouting with placards, just be at the back, read all you can, build all you can. And the men will call you to come to the table and they will celebrate you. Because honestly, the thing with men is they hate mediocrity. So if anything seems substandard, they will not allow you to come and sit there and come and spoil it for everybody, right? Because they have their own issues. But men would usually give competent women the chance. They will. Honestly.
And sometimes it's really about how emotional we are about conversations. So I'll tell you the story about how I got told off. I remember at some point in life, things were really, really hard. And I was brought up in a home where everything was given. And so, again, I had this about look with my glasses, looking for a job in a cosmetic shop. And so the agent took me there with two other girls. And this about girl looking and speaking like, you know. And the woman was like, are you in the university already? I was like, oh, I'm going to go next year when I gather enough money. And then she was like, hey, me, I can't hire this bro for you. It's a brony dear. I can't hire her now. And she was a very beautiful, you know, you can see that this woman, she's somewhere in life. And she had packed her Benz outside and everything. That time, no, to end 20, I won't give you the year.
They will start calculating.
You start calculating. And you could see that, like, she's somewhere, like, she's educated or something like that. This woman told me that, you know, this is not your place because I can't control you. I'm like, but you have to control me. You just have to teach me. You just have to lead me. What is controlling? What do you mean by you want to control me? Away from that. My mom had a story about how, you know, when she was going for this conference and they told her all the speakers were men. And she was the only woman. And and then when she got there, she said she could feel everybody trying to bully her in the room. You know, and then she walked past them and said hello. And she's naturally very good. She's not like me. She's very graceful. She walks in the room and she was like you, know, very, very prim and proper and everything. So she walks past everybody and goes to sit down nicely. And then it was time for everybody to speak. And then, you know, actually some of the men said that we are speaking first. And then she sat there. And she sat there. She's like,
was the moderator female?
The moderator was a female. And then they made all the men speak. And then she said in her head, she was like, Holy Spirit, whatever I prepared for, add more to it. And then she got up and then acknowledged all of them and then stood on the podium and delivered her speech. And they stood up and started clapping for her. And now they started giving her attention.
Right.
So you see, again, I do understand what your point of, are we all not asking to be in the same room with them? That is inclusivity. That's what we're asking for, equality, whatever. But then we want to be there because it's on merit. And you said that profoundly when we started. Okay, so let's talk about International Women's Day.
But do you know it's all part of the conversation?
Yeah, they're
all of
inspiring
these-
inclusion because I believe that we don't come top of mind. You know how if somebody said, oh, I need somebody to do something.
I need a painter.
I need a painter. I need a
That's
a
immediately you
camera.
think of a man.
In fact, they call it cameraman.
Yes.
Already, it's
a man.
It's a man. So, I need a pastor. I mean, even women, I need a pastor. I will immediately see a man because that's what we've been seeing all along. And so when they say they're inspiring inclusivity, what they mean is that we should start having women top of mind. Like we should start having, it should be very normal that you would see a female carpenter, for example. So even the courses in school, I'm working on a project right now and finding women in agriculture is almost non-existent.
I think the women who own the farms and things like that, it will be hard.
Right.
But the women who work on these...
Right, so the
Because they are there.
agro-processing parts is all women, like they are doing the shea butter and all of that. But the truth is that even with courses, when you say you're choosing a certain course, sometimes if you're not lucky, your parents will tell you, hey, engineering, oh, please. There's just this way of conditioning the woman to think that your place is this way. And sometimes they have a point because, look, combining family life, parenting, with some of the hard stuff to do in the world, it's tough. And so you need to have a lot of balance as a woman to do both really well. But the beauty that we forget is in woman, there's a man. There's a man in the word, even woman. There's male in female. So we're able to do more. Sometimes I know that if we task the men to do half
of what we do,
they will all pass out.
They will resign from being human. They will resign from being human.
Yeah, but it comes very, very easily to us because I believe that to be somebody's help, you need to be even tougher than them.
Yeah.
Because imagine I respect PAs so much because you forget what you need to do, but she will remember, he will remember. And that's a very powerful place to be. And so we need to all have in mind women more. Like in my school, for example, math teachers are women because I want the girls to know that math is also something that women love. Our IT teacher is a woman, so it's not, there's a way that we can include women in a way that it inspires other people to think that, oh, wow, this is the first camera woman I've ever seen, or a first female director in her case, a first female producer. And look at Shonda Rhimes. Look at what she's doing. She's like killing it. And because of her, more women are stepping into the role of writing and producing. And that's what I think this year's theme is. And I love it so much because they are not saying, make the women do something. They're saying that we're inspiring you to include them. And that's a very powerful space to be.
And I saw a highlight on what the big conversation for this inclusivity that they're trying to highlight this year. It's more of, okay, we've seen the women, let's say in Ghana, we've seen the women in Accra, we've seen what they can do.
Yes.
Bring more of the women from the north, bring more of the women from the western region, eastern region, who are marginalized. And so for me, that is the bigger part of the conversation for me. Like, okay, yes, we're doing amazing with the women who have been educated and brought into the limelight. How about those at the back? Because I watch Hamamat's social media a lot. And before she brings that product to Accra, there are women.
Yeah.
And she makes sure to highlight them.
Yeah, she does. She does.
So again, that is what they're asking more for. That not that we want a place with the men, we want the women at the back to come
forward.
Now, so you have spoken a lot about how we already have innate strength, we can do it ourselves, we can be better, we can be soft and graceful and everything. How do you think we can amplify this conversation to women, for them to understand, to support them to identify who they truly are from the inside?
Like she rightly said, she made a statement about, I mean, she wrote on the charity begins at home thing, which I really liked, because that's where everything starts from.
True.
As parents, once you start to raise your child, to let them know that everybody can do anything.
Thank you.
The power does not lie in one. God didn't give
anybody
extra
special
strength
powers
to be able to do certain things. Even when it comes to cooking, I notice a lot of parents. I have two kids, one boy, one girl, and I notice how in different homes, because my son had come home from school one time and I said, "Fry me an egg," and he said, why wouldn't Jada do it? And I said, because you also know how to fry eggs, so go fry it, you know? And then sometimes when it comes to washing, so I think everything, once we are able to start it from the grassroots, from the fundamental level, then as these kids grow, they can do better and be better and know that nothing is beyond me. I'm also capable of doing it just like, because like you rightly said, even with these farm workers, once your mind space cannot picture it, you can't be do there.
Yeah.
To be able to sit back and say, as an actor, I want to produce my own film. It takes a certain mentality. Nobody can give it to you. It's not something they are sharing anywhere. Nobody's sharing anything.
You're very brutal.
I always say the table does not belong to anyone. But once you want to sit at that table, you need to know that I need to come with certain qualities to be able to sit at this table. When people say you can't sit with us, it's because they know who they are and they know what qualities they both have amongst themselves.
You don't have.
That's where that statement really stems from. You can't sit with us. It's because if you don't have these qualities, don't come here. That's simply what it means. And you see that in everything else. Some of these women who are only doing those things is because they believe in themselves that this is all I'm capable of doing. But once you tell yourself, I can do beyond this, everything else is possible. So I think even for women who lead some of these workers, or for men who lead these companies where women work under them, if we are talking inclusivity, it means also that we must empower people. Like if you have any leadership role, especially as a woman, your job is to ask the women to improve themselves, so that they can come and take over when you are not there, or when something happens and somebody needs to take over. Empowering someone means, of course, allowing them to grow, allowing them to speak up, to share their ideas, so that they feel like, oh, okay, I'm heard. I'm part of this thing that is growing. One reason why a lot of women feel intimidated to work with other women or women bosses is because these women bosses feel intimidated by the younger ones.
And they feel like it's going to expose their weakness.
Going to, exactly.
You're strong.
Exactly. But strength isn't loud.
No.
It's nothing like that. And once you know that, okay, as a woman, nobody is fighting with me over anything. Rather, let me grow another woman so that we are a lot in this space. It makes it beautiful to say, okay, let me help them. Go to school. This is what I think you should do to add to yourself, to grow yourself. And if we women can start doing that, then it's easier for the men to now even be scared. Because they already know. They already know. So all these fighting we are fighting, it's like we are just fighting for. Who are you fighting?
And they like the fights we're fighting because they know about them, they don't know.
They don't know. And the thing is, nobody has pushed you away from any table. Like I said, the table is not belonging to anybody. But are you qualified to be there?
No.
If we can qualify ourselves, why not? But if we are not qualifying ourselves and we think it should be handed to us, and you should allow me to be at the table with what? What are you coming to the table with? If you don't have anything, you will be intimidated in that space and you yourself will push yourself away. Now you then go and stand aside and fight. Women's rights. What's right?
And I love what you say about the table is there to sit there if you want to.
If you want to, but do you have the quality?
And it's also when they say, okay, fine, we just need to act like we're add women, you know, just as a spice.
Yeah.
It happened in the political space.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Cringing.
I was cringing. I was like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
And we have seen our evidence.
Right.
We have seen the evidence.
Right, we have.
Some people will travel and leave in the ministry that needs them.
You know,
hoping that they'll get the vote.
Get the vote. And you see, that's why some men will
why.
not trust us with positions.
Exactly.
Now, let's move on to this conversation. Is so exciting. I wish we could have 3 days to do it.
Let me add one last bit
Please add
before we
one last
proceed.
bit.
You see, we don't understand also as women that sometimes something must give. What do you want? How are you going after it? Do you want to have children and be a mother? Are you capable of doing both? Having children, being a mom, and being a corporate woman, a career woman who is killing it in that field and not complaining?
Right.
Because when a man says, I am being a married man, but I'm still going to chase this, it means instead of coming home at 5, he's staying at work till 10. He's not complaining. When he comes and his wife is angry, he's not going to complain anyway. He will deal with his matter, and the next day he's going back to work. But we women want to be given a placard for, you know, for being you are just another species of a human. When you see yourself that, okay, I'm giving up this for this, let's understand that sometimes as a person, you don't have all the powers to do everything, but you need to choose. And I admire women who say, listen, I don't want to have children. I just want to be a career woman, and this is my focus. Don't come and tell me it's not possible. I'm doing it. And full stop. And they go ahead and they do it without any complaint. This is one reason why I love Shirley Frimpong Manso so much. She's not complaining. We all know she's gone through struggles as a female producer, and she's not complaining. She's just doing her thing. And a lot of women want to be given some attention and be clapped for and
for what you've chosen
to do.
Right.
Because why?
Yeah.
It's like a mother saying that, you know, clap for me because I'm taking care of my child.
Yes. No.
Now let's throw a bit more light. I know there's a lot going on in Diana's head.
Oh no, I was just going to say, how do we keep the conversation going, like the
from
inclusion?
here?
Yes. So it's not just International Women's Day. So that's it.
You see, all of us can do it too. Once you have friends who are doing something, she said something that I really loved. Once you have friends who are doing something, how are you as an individual? Because you can't change the whole world overnight.
Right.
How are you as an individual making impacts in people's lives? How are you advising your other friends to do the same? That's how we can continue some of these conversations. How are you picking up a phone to encourage another friend who is attempting to do something, to support them with your little quota, you know, to say, I support you, I love you, I appreciate what you are doing, it's good, continue. Because sometimes that's all a person needs to hear.
And mentioning each other in rooms.
in rooms.
I would typically, honestly, unless I couldn't find a competent woman, I was usually called the most random person. Look, I will be
on
like...
that note, I'll not let you... You all will celebrate a woman today. Say thank you to her for calling your name in a room. For recommending you. Having said that, because... You premiered a movie.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And I am actually very shocked because I have been trying to look for who is behind that movie. And my producer just told me literally about you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
She just produced a movie and it's everywhere, Ever.
Thank you.
Tell me about the movie.
Well, basically, Ever is about this woman who lives with an abusive partner. And then she mistakenly kills this partner. And so she's facing a 20-year jail term, and she needs to explain to the court or tell her story about what actually transpired between she and her partner this entire time. So the court then now has to judge whether she should go to jail or not.
Was it in self-defense that she kills the man?
Yes, it was. You
and
know?
then the uncle deal.
And most times people think when you are being abused, you are the one who's going to end up dead. And I tell people sometimes life will throw you some shocking ball. You know?
Now, okay, so when is it premiering? Where we?
It premiered last Wednesday on the 6th of March at the Silverbird Cinemas. But it's still at the cinemas, so people can go and watch. It's a beautiful film. The reviews have been great. And I'm just eternally grateful for
Congratulations,
baby.
How has the reception been?
It's been great. It's been great. I'll tell you this. Am I allowed to mention my names in terms of the women who have supported me?
Yes, do it. Please mention. We start with you.
Of course.
Let me tackle it first from the industry space, because especially when women work in the same industry, they are intimidated by each other, or they feel
They
you
don't
are in
want you to
competition
come in.
with each other. One woman who stood out for me from the beginning of this whole thing is Nasha Mensah Doku.
Okay, so we keep it there. In fact, my producer will kill me if I continue with this show. So, Nasha, thank you so much for supporting.
Nasha. She's been amazing.
It's been an amazing conversation. Like I said, I wish we could continue on and on. Maybe we should go on Twitter space and continue the conversation.
Actually, we should. Because
go
the
on
whole
Twitter
month is International Women's Month.
Yes. So. Thank you so much for coming. You both are brilliant. And listen, I absolutely enjoyed the conversation. You want to say hello to that special woman in your life that did it? Please say hello to her.
Hi to my mommy.
Hi to my grandma in Irabina.
Hi to Cookie Tea. My friends list a lot, and they were all very supportive. Hi to all of you. Hi to all of you.
We are celebrating International Women's Day here on the AM Club.
Happy
Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International. Okay, so we have to do
We have to do that.
Yeah. Guys, on that note, we're going for a quick break, and after that, we will be coming back with the plug. So don't go anywhere.